Hello, and welcome to Nurtural Disasters. This is a podcast for those of us with toxic or emotionally immature parents. We might not have a bunch of credentials next to our names, but we do have PhDs from the Hard Knocks University. Basically, we want this to be a validating space for adult children of parents who had no business having children.
Welcome to Nurtural Disasters with Ken and Lisa. Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Ken. I'm gonna crash out.
Why are you crashing out, Lisa?
Well, it's okay. I know how you love, like, when I use the Gen Z slang, Gen Alpha slang.
Oh, God.
So, literally, I just saw the movie The Crash, the documentary on Netflix, and I also saw the Mean Girl murders on Hulu. So just to get like a different perspective of the actual crash out, like everybody's talking about it. It's funny because it's like a literal crash out. The kids are, I'm gonna crash out. I'm like, well, literally. Okay.
Well, why are we talking about crash, Lisa?
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Yeah. You're crashing out. You're having an like emotional outburst. But I guess what happened is I saw the movie, well, the series and then the documentary is really entertaining. As a friend recommended it, and I was like, oh, teen stuff, whatever. But it was really interesting. And once you get to the forensics of it, that's when you realize, oh, I mean, I know you said you read articles about it
Yes.
because you haven't seen it yourself, but you know what? If you read it, you probably know just as much as I do, except for like a few other things that were added to the documentary.
Yeah, so explain what is the documentary of Crash, which was on Netflix, and then they have like an anthology on other channels called The Mean Girl Murders.
Yeah, it's on Hulu and also I think HBO Max. So
Mhm.
if I know everybody has different streaming platforms, it was interesting because like in the Netflix one, they actually interview her parents. The girl, her name is Mackenzie, by the way, which is like even her name is like a mean girl name. Like
It is.
Mackenzie. It's like a snobby, entitled, rich white girl, kind of like Mackenzie. I do Pilates. Like,
Actually, that probably would have been on my list of names if I had a daughter. Like,
really?
yeah, it'll probably be like Madison, Mackenzie, or like Emma. I would have named my kid Emma. Remember at lunch we were talking about like, a lot of people are naming their daughters Emma. I'm like, I'll
Mhm.
probably be one of them. So, yeah. So I like the sound of the name. I haven't met anybody that's named Mackenzie that I'm close friends with. So let's just say that.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god, because you guys don't go to Pilates and, like, wear Lululemon. Like, it just seems like the
Is Lululemon's
where
still a big thing now?
I think so.
I think so, right? I think
But
they still have
there's
it at the mall, and yeah.
I see Aloe, and I know that's very
Yeah,
popular.
yeah, is it called
Um,
Aloe? Yeah,
Aloe,
it's a brand where, yeah, you go in and you buy that type of
expensive.
clothes. Yeah,
It's like I don't even use the word expensive, I just use overpriced. I shop at, like, Ross and, sometimes I shop at department stores, whatever. But, like, I know people who do the Lululemon stuff, they say it's, like,
yes.
really what's it called? Even though it's expensive, I'm sorry, overpriced,
Mhm.
it lasts, so
Which is
whatever.
which is not a bad thing because, it's we went through maybe like a decade or 2 of disposable fashion, so
Fast fashion, yeah.
yeah, fast fashion, so, a lot of those brands kinda have disappeared a little bit, or at least the storefronts have, like, disappeared, like, Forever 21, like, I don't even see it around anymore. I think they're totally, like,
Oh, yeah,
pivoted
they're
away
gone.
from that, yeah.
Yeah, no, defunct.
Mhm.
No, this girl, Mackenzie, she did not wear fast fashion, you could tell. I mean, from the videos she would post on, like, TikTok and Instagram or whatever, like, with her designer purses and
Mhm.
wearing this and wearing like, even the slipper during the crash. So she was driving, and the slipper was a Prada slipper. Like, I was like, "Oh, they make slippers?" Like, that's how, like, poor I am.
No, the slippers are probably the cheapest thing you could buy from Prada, I'm assuming.
Probably.
Because I was like, I remember looking into, like, Gucci stuff, just seeing how much it costs. It was like, the shoes were the cheapest thing you could buy from Gucci, which is always, like, a funny thing to me. I'm like, okay, it costs,
Yeah.
slightly double or triple a pair of Nikes. So, yeah, I could afford this, sort of. Shouldn't buy
What
it, though.
yeah, which and her little slipper thingy is, like it was fuzzy from the picture, like, those the fuzzy slippers, and I was like, "Okay." And she was the only one wearing the seatbelt during the crash. Her
Mhm.
boyfriend was on the passenger side, a mutual friend was in the back seat. Both of her boyfriend and the friend were not wearing their seatbelts, and I
Which
don't
I
know if
always find as odd that they were wearing the seatbelt.
you know what? I was thinking about that too, and it doesn't explain. I think maybe for the guy in the back seat because it looked like when they got the black box of the car, it went from drive to neutral and then back to drive because it was always going 100 miles per hour during that stretch before the crash, when she was just flooring it, it was going 100 miles, shoom, at some point during that stretch of 100 miles an hour, they're saying that maybe, like, the guy in the back, I forgot his name, Davian? What even I don't remember. He might have taken off his seatbelt to, like, try to control her. Maybe both of them. They took it off to try to, like, put it in park or to stop her, maybe that's why they took it off. We don't know. It's like it could be it's possible. Yeah, and she had her seatbelt on the whole time, which is interesting, and the Hulu one talks about her phone, they checked her phone, and she actually 3 days prior to the crash, she had been to that location. Like, she was doing a dry run, supposedly.
Mhm.
Yeah, this girl's a fucking monster. She got airlifted from the crash to the hospital. She stayed at the hospital. She was doing the influencer thing at the hospital. Like, how tacky is that, right? How she's just like, "In the hospital, I miss him so much." But then, like, right after, um, she out of the hospital, she went to a music festival wearing, like, booty shorts, and it looked like a swimsuit top. But it was, like, very, like, Coachella looking. And then right after, she goes to a Halloween party, and they're dressed up as guess what they dress up as? She and her friends.
Corpses?
Yes.
That's that's tacky. That's really just
That like, how tone deaf. When you talk about, like, how callous and I mean, right, wow. So she and her friends, and then, like, they're posting it up on Instagram and, like but they're sexy corpses, of course, like a typical mean girl.
yeah, it's Halloween. It has to
It's
be sexy
Halloween, has
corpses.
to be sexy, yeah.
Sexy ghosts, sexy, corpses, sexy zombie.
So yeah, sexy mummy. That was used against her during the trial. They gave her 15 years to life for the double homicide. Her lack of remorse, and they also in the Hulu one, they interview, other girls in her school. Apparently, it's like an suburb of Cleveland, Ohio. So, it's supposed to be a really good school and, like, kind of upper class. All the kids they're not rich, but they're, like, maybe upper middle class. I got that sense. They interview the other girls, and they're saying, "Oh, she was the meanest mean girl. She was the Regina Georges of this school." So, she always had a posse with her of other mean girls, and people were afraid of her. And you said that you were bullied in school, Ken.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's I think there's not necessarily every school has the same type of, like, mean girl dynamic, but, there was always something that's kinda similar where you had a similar structure. You might not have had the Regina George, but you might have had something, to a lesser degree where there's, like, a group of people that are usually band together to, like, pick on a particular target. So that's very common in high school. I mean, you might not necessarily get the very close to the, the teen movie kinda dynamics, but it's close if it's not.
yeah.
It's always similar. It always breeds something similar to that, where there's a group of kids that are kinda like-minded and some of them are nice, some of them are mean, and the mean ones they have a herd mentality where they would pick on someone, and that person will be the target of their like kind of the vitriol and stuff like that, and bullying.
Mhm.
So that I think that's the common aspect of it. I guess in this situation, like she was kind of like the queen bee, and she was the mean queen bee because the queen bee not necessarily always runs that same kind of stereotype where they're the villain of of the school. But in this case, it does sound like she is the villain of the school. So it,
Mhm.
the more you dig deep into like her background and just how her personality is, especially on social media, it paints a picture of someone that's very, very self-centered, very self-serving. So
Mhm. Oh my god. It is not flattering. It is
yeah,
not
it's
yeah.
almost like a person that's maybe like a sociopath, someone without any kind of like remorse. It's very troubling to
Yeah.
see that.
When you said it paints a picture, it definitely that went through my mind. I was like, "Yeah, she seems like a cluster B type." The lack of remorse, that lack of like, yeah, because you just look at the forensics of, like, she floored it. She didn't bother to break or anything. It seemed like there was intent to
Yeah,
kill, and she didn't even care that there was, like she was mad at her boyfriend, but there was just the innocent bystander who was just in the back seat. He was just the innocent friend who got killed, and the poor guy, he had a hard life. Like, he grew up going to foster homes with his siblings. He finally got into a good home with his family, and they interviewed his foster father, who I think is now his adopted father. and his siblings, and it's so heartbreaking and sad. You could tell how sad he is, and his little sister, she just oh my god, it broke my heart. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna just start crying while watching this because it's he had nothing to do with it." I know her vendetta was towards him, but she didn't give a fuck that this innocent kid, had his whole life ahead of him, who by all accounts was a really nice kid, he basically helped raise his siblings, went through a lot of challenges, and then I guess the boyfriend was pretty fed up with her shit. And it shows in the Hulu documentary, The Migros Murders, that he used his friend's phone and he was recording her while they were fighting, and she's like threatening him, and I guess his parents were saying like she was really difficult as a girlfriend because she would demand like he would cook her certain food. I guess she had a very specific diet, and then demand that he would buy her gifts and just treated him more like an accessory or a slave. And I guess that there is when you go back to it, like the entitlement, right? Of these mean girls. And she obviously got it from her parents. They interview her parents in the Netflix one, and they're super permissive. They're like, oh, yeah, she smokes weed, but guess what? I do too. And that there's nothing wrong with it. It's even safer than alcohol. But we smoke weed. It's like they are the biggest enablers, and you're like, oh, they created this monster.
Yeah, I love that you pivoted right to the parents because remember how I always tell you, there's some like the gentle parenting and being friends with your kids as a parent sounds great in theory. In practice, you're literally this is clear case of you created like a murderer pretty much. You created like a criminal as that's that kind of parenting style. So so is this surprising? No, it's pretty much it's not shocking. It's more shocking that I think even after that she was found guilty, she still had kind of like this thought process that hey, I'm gonna get out of here eventually, and then I'm gonna try to make she's already thinking of becoming a influencer outside of jail.
That's right. You were telling me like she had a girlfriend inside of the jail that she's
Mhm.
in, and that they
Um
interviewed her lover or slash
Yeah,
girlfriend,
yeah, her
whatever.
ex-girlfriend in the prison said that she still had that queen bee mentality while in prison, and she talked a lot about her plans for becoming an influencer outside of jail when she does get released, and she's thinking about writing a book and stuff like that, and maybe having yeah, yeah, this is
Wow.
if you're in jail and you're looking into the future and you're looking for, "Hey, I'm gonna use this as something to, platform myself after after prison rather than look deep inside of you and try to change some bad things about you that hopefully when you get out of prison like you'll get reformed or something like that. No, that's not her goal at all. I think her goal is to like do her time. If she maybe had the chance she would actually be an influencer in prison. It's just that she probably doesn't have that opportunity, but she's already doing setting those like little all this groundwork for life after prison. I wouldn't be surprised that if she was someone that would try to somehow get like a TLC show, just be like, "Hey, I'm in a prison, but you know what? I want to be an influencer and I want to be on your reality show." And I wouldn't doubt that she would try to sell herself that way to like a television network because this is what she wants. She wants to be a center of attention. She wants to be social media popular. So what could you do with someone like that? She's already gonna face 10 to 15 years in prison, right?
Yeah, 15 years to life, and who knows? I
Yeah,
mean,
and I'm pretty sure, like, if people parrot this behavior that the ex in prison said about her, and it's gonna be a thing during a parole hearing, that I don't think she's gonna get out prison on, like, parole. It boggles the mind. I'm not sure if it's just she's just not listening to her parents or her parents just don't maybe tell her some of the stuff that she should cool down on,
oh,
right?
no, she speaks in code with her mom in prison, and those they have like these phone calls, and they're talking in code, like it sounds like gibberish. But I'm surprised that no one's like gone on AI and tried to to decipher it, right? Because I'm sure there's I wonder if AI could probably do that. And it's funny because in the Netflix documentary, they show the mom, and she's in court and she's addressing the judge of like, my daughter, my daughter, my daughter. And the judge calls her out and says, You keep talking about her, and you have not once mentioned the 2 people who actually died. And she stops and she turns around and it's, like, super dramatic where she goes, "I mean, Dom, I'm talking Damien." Like, she just starts saying it, but it's like, yeah, you shouldn't have to be reminded, The 2 people were killed because of her kid's actions, and it's almost like they're even enabling her even after this, That should have been the wake up call of, "Hey, maybe we fucked up," and then it led to this, but unless they're, like, in serious denial and they really don't believe she did anything because it's intentional, okay? If you're driving 100 miles an hour towards a brick wall, that's intentional,
Oh,
right?
definitely is.
There was no foot on the brake at all. That
Well,
was
it's the crazy thing is the entitlement that she still has, and the entitlement that Mackenzie has is well warranted because if you look at how the parents were, and the parents did not. There, there's definitely not anything to change our minds or anybody's mind about how their parents created that kind of monster. If was any doubt, the parents opened their mouth and removed all doubt. They're the ones that enabled her, and they're still probably enabling her at the moment. They probably are planning something to maybe, get her out of prison or something like that earlier. They're trying to work some technicality in there.
Oh, they
They
did.
yeah.
Yeah, oh, they did. They said that she had some what was it? I'm gonna look it up right now. Um,
I think don't remember it exactly. It was like some sort of like seizure that she had that they were saying that she had some sort of seizure that kicked in
yeah, it
right when.
kicked in, yes, right? So that's probably why she did not take the foot off the brake
If
and
that's the case, it doesn't explain the lack of remorse after.
yeah, right? I mean, if I had killed my partner and a friend, I mean, mutual friend who did nothing, and just completely innocent, I would feel so shitty. I I don't know, Ken, I know the guilt would wear like, the survivor's guilt would eat me alive,
Yeah, because you're a normal person. That's what normal people feel. So it's like, okay, even if it was an accident, if someone died within your car, it's traumatic. It's horrifying. And for some people, they never really get healed from that or have that aspect of their life fixed. They just cope with it. But in this case, it's so obvious that she is just like a inconvenient like day for her.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, how dare she be inconvenient? I really need to do my Instagram, like, video right now. That's really what she's thinking about. She's thinking about, "How am I gonna monetize this for attention later on?" Which is a horrible thing to be, like, focusing on when you're in jail for killing 2 people.
Yeah, well, the good thing is that people see right through her bullshit too. In the Netflix documentary, they interview her, and she has this big bun on her head. It's kinda comical. You just go, "What?" And she doesn't seem all that remorseful. She's just like, "I don't know." And you were telling me, Ken, that she was still running, like, the mean girl kinda mob inside the jail. She's still being the mean girl. I was like, yeah. So I'm like, "Okay."
I'm just like, there has to be something, like, her parents had money, right? Has money,
They didn't
um
mention, like, what her parents did for work or anything, but it was an upscale kind of a suburb of Cincinnati, Cleveland. I always mix up those 2.
I could just imagine they're definitely I don't think they're hurting for money, and that could be why she's kinda like that. Any kinda, like, court cases for any kind of people that are, lower middle class or even middle class, this would be critical. This would bankrupt some families just by going through this litigation.
Mhm.
Um I haven't heard anything about yeah, I don't haven't heard anything about, like, GoFundMes for her. I don't think for her, it's like a it's just something necessary from her parents. Jeez, these parents I always talk about, like, every episode is like, "Yeah, yeah, you're letting your kid get away with murder." And eventually and this is the actual case where it's like the behavior kept escalating, right? It keeps escalating until you get something like this. And then now what?
Yeah, and it doesn't surprise me that she's, like, perpetuating that mean girl mob mentality in jail. 'Cause she was tried as an adult, so she was only 17 when the accident happened, which was probably not an accident. Probably shouldn't say the incident. And she was tried as an adult, so she went to an adult jail, with, like, hardened criminals, and she's still trying to run that game of, like, "I'm the mean girl, I'm the queen bee of the high school." She still has a high school mentality. And it reminds me of, like, a lot of grown, quote, unquote, supposed to be women, but they still have that high school mentality. It's surprising because, well, I feel like I used to be a magnet for people like Mackenzie, like girls like that, the mean girls, and, even our mutual friend who we met through. Let's call her Gina, right? Like Regina George, but short for Gina.
Regina.
Regina. Let's call her Regina.
You could call her Gina, I'll
Gi
call her Gina.
Gina for sure. I'll call her Gina. Okay,
Gina.
so this Gina, Gina was a only child. I think Mackenzie might have been only child. They don't mention at all if she had siblings. I don't think I think she was just like the spoiled only kid, just like Gina, and had that entitled. It was such a mean girl to me. And I know I did want to talk about her a little bit because like how horrible she was to me. And I know people were like wondering like what was the falling out? Like what happened? And I don't think it was one thing in particular. I know you asked me, Ken, like, why did you guys just stop? Like, well, she ended up moving overseas to teach English abroad, and I was constantly like having to get her to to FaceTime. Not there's no FaceTime back then. What do you call it, like video G chat or whatever?
It was probably like some sort of other video chat, right? It's like,
Yeah.
I think, MSN had one. I don't remember.
It
I
was
really
pre
don't.
Zoom. It was pre Zoom.
I think the one I used was like MSN Messenger, like a
Yeah.
MSN Messenger, and then they had the video chat on there, and yeah,
It was
other yeah.
yeah. It was one of those.
Mhm.
But they like, oh, where are you gonna get together? Like finally, and then we finally get together, with her being in Asia. Like, "How's it going?" And she was just so nasty to me, being really
Mm.
condescending, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah." It was a reminder, just being away from somebody who's, like, toxic, and then you get together and you're like it's a reminder, like, "Oh, this person was actually not very nice to me." I
Yeah, so from what you told me, it's like it's almost like, when you were, like, trying to communicate with her, it's almost like you're supposed to, and it has to be on her time, and it has to be on her terms, and
Mhm.
it's very tiring to get it both ways, when especially if someone's overseas, you're still trying to check in on them, and, you try to be a friend. Of course, you can't see each other on a regular basis anymore, but even in a situation like those, it's kinda like they're expecting something from you that you don't know, and it's almost like you're fucking up, but it's, "What am I doing wrong here?"
Oh my god. I guess she wasn't having any fun. Do you remember that story?
Oh, are
Uh,
you gonna are you gonna please tell me you're gonna do that,
her
do do that
well, like
impression?
I will do that. The backstory is that we were in downtown LA, and then, like, on Thursday nights, they would have this art walk.
Oh, we went to the art walk one time. It was cute.
Yeah. Um, so we're doing the art walk, and I guess I had a coworker at the time who had her own stall, but there were so many people on the street and she was already, like I texted her, and my friend was breaking down her stall, and we were too far away, we're a few blocks away. I'm like, "I guess we can't," and
Mhm.
Gina got so mad. She was like, "I'm not having any fun!" Like, literally like that, in the middle of the street having a meltdown like a child, and I'm like, "Why are you being negative?" And even if my friend who's, like, the nicest, sweetest girl was with us, she's like, "Why are you being negative?" And she would always
So
accuse me of
yeah,
being
but
negative.
but but what led to the "I'm not having any fun"?
Because we were walking on our way to my coworker at the time. She had a booth at one of
Mhm.
the something in the art walk for her stuff that she did that she now like sells on Etsy. But at that point, it was nearing like 9 p.m. and that's when she had to close up shop.
So everything was closing down, and
Yeah,
it was kind of like a mess then, I'm assuming, because it
I
was
think
like
there was tons of people. Yeah,
yeah.
uh, and we were a few blocks away. I'm like, we're not going to make it on time. And because of that, that like triggered her meltdown. And it's weird because she would just say things about me being negative. Yeah. There was one time it's funny, the three of us, me, Gina, another friend, and we're talking about children. If we're going to have children, we were like in our early to mid 20s at that point, and we're like, oh, we don't know. And then Gina says, can you imagine how bitchy Lisa would be if she got pregnant? Yeah.
That's not very nice to say about your friend.
Yeah, and she also called I remember one time, she came to visit me at my job, but she needed to so I was gonna give her my parking spot in Hollywood because it was, like, really hard to find parking, and it was free parking for her, and you remember how cheap she was, and
Yeah.
I was telling her, "Go here, no, to make a left here," and then she just she got frustrated and she started screaming at me. She was driving and I was in the passenger side. She started screaming, "You're horrible! You're horrible!" Like,
But why were you horrible?
because I was supposedly giving her the wrong directions. When I was telling her to go somewhere, have to get into the parking lot of the building that I worked at, but she was not listening to me or whatever. There was some kind of miscommunication, and she started screaming at me, "You're horrible!" I mean, and that was not the only time she screamed at me while I was in the car because we drove to a rave. I think it was EDC or one of those or whatever.
The good old days when we were actually wanting to go to raves.
I guess. Well, she got mad at me because I wanted to turn the AC on, and this was, like, out in the
Mhm.
San Bernardino County in the summer when it's, like, hot as balls.
Roasting hot. It's for people
Fuck.
that don't know what it is, it's the desert. It's in the middle of the desert. So,
And you're driving in the desert,
mhm.
and it's hot in the car because she was too cheap to turn on the AC.
Oh.
So I turned on the AC, and she turns it right off, and then I turned it back on, she turns it right back off, and I'm like, "Hey, it's hot in here," and she goes, "You weird! You weird!" And I'm like, "Oh my god, you're so cheap that you can't spend, like," I was like, "I'll give you the money. I'll give you gas money just so we can get the AC." And but it wasn't like she would just get so mad, like, even over $5, like, literally. We went to this film festival in Newport Beach, and I wasn't standing in front of her, and it was $10 for this movie that we were gonna go see, you know? She's right behind me, and she's like, "Is there a student discount?" And for hers was $5 instead of the $10 that I paid. So the entire time, the rest of the night, she was like, "$5! You paid that extra $5!" For 5 fucking dollars. She was just like she would not shut up about it. My god, so annoying.
Yeah, did you ever understand why she was so frugal on certain things?
And she's just a stingy person because that's how she is with, like, compliments. She was always stingy. People who are, like, cheap, one thing is being frugal, right? Where
Mhm,
you're just,
mhm,
like, you're saving up for something,
mhm.
you're sensible, whereas cheap is just, like, you need to make everyone else around you miserable over $2, you know? So, but people who are cheap, it extends to other parts of their personality. They're cheap when it comes to giving out compliments or cheap when it comes to affection or I'm not sure if you've noticed that. What's another story? Oh my god, did I tell you the story about the nachos?
I think so, but I don't remember it, so go ahead.
Because we were at this Mexican restaurant, and there was this big plate of nachos, and I was
Nachos.
like, yeah, to like I was like, "Oh, we should split it," and she's like, "I don't do well with sharing." So so we're like so she starts mindlessly eating the nachos,
Mhm.
and she grabs the entire thing of cheese and stuffs her mouth with it, and I'm like, Gina, you just stuffed your entire mouth with nacho cheese, and her mouth is just she goes and I guess she just, like, but her cheeks are, like, big with all the nacho, and then right there, as, like, the universe has, like, the darkest sense of humor, our friend comes to join us. She swallows it, and she goes, "Lisa gave me a bad look," and she starts pointing her finger at me on the other side of the table, and I'm like, "Oh my god, what is happening?" Because I pointed her out, she just took the entire thing of cheese, get it melted together,
Yeah.
and I guess she was mindlessly eating, she wasn't used to sharing because she was an only child. So
Oh gosh.
like,
So
can you
she's not
believe
used
it?
to sharing, so ooh, I don't even know what you say about that. Like, it's just
Uh,
your parents
uh,
never taught you how to share, and I was like,
no.
"Okay." But I wanna get back to that part where you said that she was very, frugal or cheap, even with her compliments and even with the positive things she says to you. What do you mean by
Oh,
that?
well, it's funny because she would always say, "I'm the most positive person ever," but
I
she was
always Yeah, you always worry when someone says, like, there's something, I'm like, you don't have to let us know if you are."
if you really are something,
Overcompensation right there. I need
yeah.
to remind you that this is what I am.
Yeah, I remember, like, after she had left, I was telling some of the stories about her, and you were like, "Wow," and then she had posted something on Instagram where it's like, "Compliment people, magnify their strengths," or something along those lines, and I sent you a screenshot, and you wrote back, "LOL." 'Cause
Well, yeah, it's like I love it when people write those cryptic messages and it's so obviously like they don't follow those messages. They're like,
uh,
this person wrote that?
yeah,
So it's like, yeah.
if you're calling people names, saying, like,
Yeah, yeah.
"I'm horrible," if I'm bitchy, and all this stuff,
That's almost like someone saying it's like, "Oh yeah, like being a bitch to you." It's like, "Yeah, be very open-minded and be filled with grace when talking to your friends and stuff like that, and give them grace." And you I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Do you know what that is? That's a lack of self-awareness.
Yes.
Lack of self-awareness. Self-awareness is actually not as easy as you think. Some people think they know themselves. They don't. They don't. They think they know themselves. In my years of therapy, it took a while to be, like, self-aware. And even being self-aware doesn't really help you in every situation. It's kinda like you know what you're gonna do, you know how you feel sometimes, but it's still a work in progress when you're doing it.
For sure,
Um
because well, we all have blind spots, right?
Mhm.
And I think it takes someone on the outside to show us, like, "Hey, you do this," and then you go, "Okay, I know how to course correct." Like, I didn't realize I was doing this, and but if you're like, if there's a certain personality type where you tell them like, "You do this," and they go, "No, I don't. You do that." That type of thing, like, you can't help them. Those people, they're so delusional.
Yeah, and it also sounds like she's very stubborn and she's stuck in her ways. If it deviates from what she believes in, she would think it's like some sort of weirdness coming from you.
Yeah, and, when you talk about I don't think she had, like, her parents were like Mackenzie's parents, because her parents had been separated from what I remember. Her dad did have money, though, because
Mhm,
he owned, rental properties out in the Antelope Valley, I believe. So, it was they're pretty well I mean, her mom was an educator, so she wasn't
mhm.
exactly, like, rolling in the dough, ballin', but solidly middle class, and lived in a nice house, but very indulged in a way, like the way Mackenzie was. Like, being the only child, you get a lot of indulgement. It creates people like that, and also, with people like you and me, Ken, where we had parents who were completely narcissistic, we kind of become magnets for people who are like that, like Mackenzie or Gina, who are just super entitled. Like, I noticed that the reason why those people just come to us like flies to a moth is because we our parents set us up for people like that. Because growing up, we put up with that behavior because that's how we survived, right? There's a
Mm,
part of our brain
mhm.
that normalized their toxicity as a way to just survive every day. So there's something. So for us, they're like, why didn't you see the flags? It's like if I talk about people who get out of really toxic relationships, it's like, why did you stay? It's like at the beginning, you don't see the red flags because they're so normalized that for someone like her, and another other quote unquote friends that I had who were just really shitty people. It wasn't until I studied narcissism that's when everything made sense. I was like, oh, that's why I attract these people. That's why. Oh, everything finally is like a jigsaw puzzle put together. I'm like, yes, no wonder I put up with so much shit that Gina did because that's how my mom treated me. She treated me like that. So it was just normal.
I do find it interesting because, with Gina, it's you're not the only friends that's with her. Like, I am, I guess, consider a friend with her. We have another friend that's also a friend with her, and we each have a different relationship with her. But the thing is, we think you probably have the most authentic relationship with her because you spent the most time with her compared to me and another guy friend.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think we weren't with her together enough to see what you saw. You know how some people have like they put on their mask, so they could mask their behaviors for a certain amount of time, and then if you spend too much time with them, the mask falls off, and
Oh,
then you get
yeah.
the default behavior.
Wait,
So
this mutual friend, I think I know who you're talking about.
mhm,
I think he told me that well, okay, she had come back to visit the States, and
mhm,
he went out for, like, a sushi dinner with her and a few other people,
mhm,
and she spent, like, over $50 worth of food, which she
mhm.
and when he told me that, I was like, "What?" She would, like, nickel and dime the living shit, because 'cause they're so cheap to the point where it's, like, to the fucking penny, and would not spend money 'cause that cheap, but here she is at a sushi bar, and he said, if it's the same one, said, "I never spend like this. I never s" I'm like, "No," because she would just over 5 fucking dollars would flip the fuck out. So, I was like, "What?" So she did show different parts of her personality to different people, very judicious with, like, who she did
Well,
it.
yeah, to you, she I think she had a relationship relationship with you where she could, uh, I'm not sure if it's asserting dominance or she was much more mean to you than she was with us.
Mhm.
I'm not
Uh,
sure if it's just like a certain type of power dynamic that she had with you. She felt more comfortable in showing that part of her, which is not actually a good part to show. She just saw you as someone's like, well, you could take it. It's like, "Oh, yeah, you could take it."
mhm.
Everybody else is like, "Well, they know me from, from work and stuff like that. I don't want that part of my personality be viewed out there." Yes, because, me and another guy friend, I think we started off as her coworkers, so I don't think we had the same relationship with her as you had with her.
Mhm.
At most, I had a time where I went to a concert with her, and she was on her best behavior, in my opinion. So it's really she didn't let us see that part of her that she showed for you, which makes sense. There's a lot of it's hard to know. It's like there's certain times where if you spend a lot of time with someone, you get to see the true version of them. That's why a lot of people always say, "A, if you really want something interesting and to see if you're actually compatible with the person you're moving in with, yeah, give it like a year or two to see if you're still friends or you're still like spouses, because that reveals a lot of things. Because all that kind of masking goes away.
Yeah.
Mask falls off. That person goes back to default behavior.
Yeah, especially when you live with somebody.
I remember there was one time in college. Reminds me about one time in college. My roommate was dating this girl for a while, and when they were first dating, like he was very like attentive. They went out to do a lot of other stuff, physical activities. Go out to go eat and stuff like that. Not stay at the house, kind of like that. As the relationship went on, I remember that summer. At this point, I think they'd been together for like a year, and during that summer, all he did was play video games, and it was funny because I think she, like, even talked to us, like, the roommates, his other friends, and it was like, "Oh, he's really changed. All he wants to do is wake up and play video games all day." And we were, like, looking at each other, it's like, he
Nah.
changed. He actually reverted back to what he usually does. He changed when he saw you in the beginning, but after a while, he got comfortable, and then he reverted back. So, that's what you have to keep in mind when people have different views on how they see someone. Yeah, you're with that person for so much. You went on a little trip together. You went to, like, some music festival. Her mask fell off because it's like she can't keep the mask on for, like, 8 hours straight. So,
Yeah.
ta-da!
Ta-da! Yeah, but I mean, at least, Gina didn't try to kill me, with a car. She just screamed at me for being horrible.
Yeah, maybe she's a good thing she's not that type of person. Yeah, but it's
She's only a narcissist, she's not like a psychopath
yeah,
that I know of.
I just wonder because it's like people that were friends with this Mackenzie girl. Whew, it's it's like, do you really want to be friends with her? Because everybody that's around her, you're not really friends. You're just like kind of like accessories, either
Yeah.
to a crime or accessories that she could throw away when she's tired of it, right?
Yeah, she the main character energy, as the kids
Well,
say.
yeah, the problem with that is when you have parents that probably enable your kids' behavior like this and they see other humans as just like,
NPCs.
yeah, NPCs and like just not, yeah, just not acknowledging that they're actual people with feelings and aspirations and stuff like that. That they're just pretty much accessories. What do you think is gonna happen? But still, I won't be surprised that in like 10 to 15 years she'll have her own reality show with TLC.
Yeah, right?
Horrifying. It's horrifying what people want to put on television nowadays.
God, I really hope they don't I hope she just gets life.
I have a feeling that if
Like, early release?
Here's the thing. With cases like this, where you see someone that's obviously trying to monetize over a certain kind of accident or stuff like that, it turns into a civil obligation. I'm pretty sure, like the two kids, their parents are gonna be like, "Hey, we want part of that money. You killed our kid," and that's really how it's gonna work, right? If you can't like punish them enough through like prison and stuff like that, or somehow they get away, you could always get them civilly. So that's the only thing I could see in the future. If she pulls this stuff, she's gonna get sued for money. I don't think she would get out of giving money away, right?
No. That's a good question, but
Yeah, but with her, I don't even think she cares about the money. She cares about the clout and the attention.
yeah. People like her, they like money because of what? Because it gives them power.
Yeah. I mean, but the ultimate punishment is to have nobody pay attention to her. If you cut off all
Oh,
the attention from her and you tell her there's no more social media for you, we see you social media, you could go right back to prison. That'll be a more major punishment than any kind of money you could take away.
yes, the, narcissistic supply,
Hmm.
you get you get that supply out, and it's like, it cripples them. Oh. Yeah, and but the thing is, like, nowadays in prison, they have
Uh,
phones, they have so, I mean, you see influencers in prison, they're like, "I'm making prison food." You're like, "Oh, really?" With their top ramen being like, try to make a gourmet meal out of, like, top ramen, you know, nail file and a hot sauce and, it's it's so funny, and they're like, "Yeah, this is just a currency exchange. I do this in exchange for, cigarettes." So, yeah, I'm surprised she doesn't have, like well, maybe because she's trying to appeal, so, of course, it would look bad if she has a her Instagram in prison or doing TikTok videos. They're like, "Hi, guys. I'm gonna get my hair done, watch me crash out." No pun intended. Haha. Can you imagine in prison? This is
as outlandish as what you said, like, that could happen. That could happen. It's like she's gonna do that, and, that's not gonna do well for her in her parole hearing, which is probably gonna come, right?
yeah.
Um, you know, even before parole hearings, there's gonna be, like, subsequent, like, what, appeals and stuff like that.
Y
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sure her lawyer has advised her, like, "Mind your P's and Q's," whatever, which I'm sure she hates
But yeah, is she gonna listen? Probably not.
part of it, right?
I know. She said, yeah.
But she's so entitled, but
Yeah.
someone, like, with that entitlement, she's probably gonna be like, "I could do whatever the fuck I want."
Well,
'Cause
it's an entitlement. It goes as far as you're entitled with a runway, right? If there comes a point, maybe it won't work anymore. Usually with a murder, but it's still. I think at this point, she still thinks she might get out of it, which is horrifying to think.
yeah. I don't know, I do you plan on watching the documentary or either one of the series or
Yes, probably. But yeah, it's. I do like watching, those Dateline, unsolved mysteries kind of thing.
Mhm.
A lot of times with those, they're like with older couples and they've been together for a while. It's like usually not like young couples like this. This is pretty much a what can you say? This is a perfect case on the our times that someone's so kind of like social media like plugged in that this is her life now. Like she thinks in terms of views and like clout and stuff like that online, followers.
So, what I can't figure out is, did she plan on dying or did she plan on living? I mean, she had her seatbelt on, so maybe and then she thought or maybe she thought, "Oh, I'm just gonna everyone's gonna get very injured and I'm gonna get a bunch of sympathy." I'm trying to
It,
figure.
it's a thing where we won't know unless she is very like open with what her mindset was during that time.
Yeah, and she has to stick with her lie of like, "Oh, I had a seizure. Oh, I just didn't I was high." Okay, but they showed, like, she had THC, but it's like and then, like, there's a video, camera footage of this business that was
Hmm.
around the corner from where the crash site happened, and she's turning a corner, and she puts on her blinker to make a right turn, and she carefully makes a right turn. Very, very, measured, right? It's like she's
Hmm.
carefully making a right turn. So if you're care enough to put, like wear a seatbelt, put your
Hmm.
blinker on,
Yeah.
you're not driving recklessly, but so, like, she, like, planned just for that but I don't my thing is, like, I don't know, did she plan on, mm, living? Did she wanna die kind of thing?
Who knows that? Who
I
knew? Who knows at that mindset at that time? Like only she would know, right? Someone that's kind of so narcissistic is like, well, does she even think that she's at this level where, hey, I have a seatbelt, nothing's gonna happen to me? That could easily been her mindset too. Like nothing's gonna happen to me. Nothing
oh,
ever happens to me.
and another thing I noticed was that when they found her head okay, so, when the paramedics and the cops show up at the beginning, her head is under the dashboard. So, like, the airbag's obviously deployed on both sides and then even on the side, like the passenger in the back seat. Like,
Hmm.
so, but where she was at, so she was underneath, maybe like she was expecting it to come, so she ducked down? Because if the airbags had deployed, because I've been in 3 different car crashes in the last 5 years, and one of them was by
Hmm.
a drunk driver. It was a horrific accident that, like,
Yeah.
I still have issues, medical issues, that I've been enduring. So, that's why the car crash thing was very curious to me because after being in such 3 different I mean, one was, like, a really horrific car crash.
Yeah. I
Like
remember you telling me.
yeah, but he's a rich kid too. You could call him an influencer. He's, yeah, he was a Mackenzie. His car was totaled, like, it was but his car was, like he souped it up, like, his parents were very wealthy, so he had paid to, like, soup it up, and Anyway, so
Well, that's the that well, you don't have to go too much into that, but it really brings up, like, the fact that the parents showed up immediately and all it was all okay, right? You get your he pretty they pretty much got his ass out of the fire immediately.
the drunk driver who hit me,
Yeah,
yeah.
because you told me that he
Yeah.
literally posted that he was in another country, like, in a couple days. What is that?
Yes, yes, he had because this happened at night around 10 p.m.
Yes.
So he was arrested around 11:30 when after they did the field sobriety check, and he failed it. He failed a breathalyzer. They sent him to prison, and then he got out the next morning, and he and his sister, who was also a model, like, she had been on the cover of Vogue, they went on a trip to Greece, and this was all his stuff was public. His Instagram was public, so I was, like, stalking him on Instagram, and I'm like, "It must be nice," like, my car was totaled,
And
and I was
again, a
fighting
and again, we talk about how old Mackenzie was, she's like a teenager. How old was this guy?
26, but he was young. He looked like he was in a I thought he was a teenager.
Exactly, but it's like, you just look at it, 10 years older, but if your parents treat you that with that entitlement, you never learn. You're just thinking mommy and daddy will get you out of it.
Yeah, they
Mhm,
showed up, like, right away.
mhm, mhm,
Well, they weren't that
and th
far from his house, but
a
anyway, yeah.
but it doesn't have to be far from their house, right? That the parents probably did the same thing for Mackenzie. "Oh, we'll get you out of this, don't worry about it. Mom and dad got this,"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
until they don't.
Yeah, let's get our lawyer. They probably have, like, a lawyer, or like, "Oh,
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
already retained a lawyer
Yeah,
on your
they have,
behalf."
people like this, they have, like, this is not the first time they got in trouble. So it's at what point do you just let your kid just take the brunt of it, right? Because eventually it's gonna escalate. This behavior's gonna escalate, right? He's drunk driving, and then eventually he was like, thank God, like, you weren't killed, Lisa.
Oh, my
So
dog was in the back seat.
exactly. No, gladly
My
nobody was killed.
dude, my dog
But
was
then,
so traumatized.
exactly, there are certain situations where people do get killed, and then what?
Yeah. Eh, in the
Because
school, like
yeah,
Mackenzie, yeah, I could have easily, he could have easily been a Mackenzie,
yeah.
and, like, but the fact that, okay, the airbag's deployed, but her head was underneath the dashboard. How did that happen? So did she duck down right before the crash? That's
Who
what I'm
knows?
wondering.
It's an interesting thing to go with the forensics of it. Maybe they'll go with a more kind of like deep dive into it eventually. But this is like crazy, right? It's a lot of her defense team is literally trying to throw everything at the wall to see if it sticks to get her out of it. They're trying to say like it's an accident, she didn't do it on purpose, and if that's the
Y
case, then she's really someone that lacks remorse. And is that and if you lack remorse and you had an accident, should that be a consideration of like someone a criminal when you lack remorse?
So how would it be an accident? Because if you think about it, it doesn't make sense.
Mm-mm,
Okay,
doesn't
but if
make
it's an
sense.
accident, oh, let's say, like, her foot, everything happened, like, it was just a coincidence that her foot got, what, stuck on the gas pedal,
Could be.
and she had a seizure right at the same time,
Hmm.
and everything just happened, and she was headed directly at this brick wall that it's so sus.
Also, if you I'm not saying this is based on like past experience. If you're ever high and having an automobile, uh, you're actually driving a lot slower than you think.
Yeah, that makes sense because when she made that
Hmm.
turn, they said she had the THC in her system,
Yeah,
right? So she had, obviously, and she's in the huge pothead, but, like, she's making this very careful turn. That's more
which
consistent with how
someone on
yeah,
that's high would be doing
yeah,
it.
yes, exactly, because there's a delayed reaction.
Yes.
Yes, so it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, her excuses don't make any sense. That's really what it is. The excuses don't make any sense.
Hmm. Man, I should have been like a forensic scientist because that stuff is so fascinating to me.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, a lot of people. That's why people love like these unsolved mysteries and like
Ye
Dateline and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh my god, no, what they call it, women, the murder porn? Because we can, as women, we can solve a mystery before, like, the end, like, "Oh, he did it. Oh, the such and such did it. Oh, da 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 da." We just love that shit. There's even, like, a South Park episode making fun of it, like, our a
Yeah.
women's love. That's how we relax. W I
Well, you think about it, like Lifetime, a lot of them is just like murder mysteries.
Yeah, yeah.
Who killed who, and so that's Lifetime television for women.
Yeah,
And the
Lifetime.
other aspect of Lifetime is unfortunately women getting beaten by their exes.
Yeah,
That's
but,
Lifetime.
yeah, it's very interesting. So did you wanna, like, wrap it up?
Yes, let's wrap it up.
Okay. So to wrap it up, Um, I really hope somebody sends this to our friend. ex-friend, actually, Gina. I'm just wondering because we have mutual friends with her. I don't know if they still talk to her, but I wonder, they're like, "Gina, guess what? Lisa and Ken, they have a podcast, and I think this might be you." Um, which is fine. I think someone should, and I think she needs to be called out for the way she treated me.
Mhm.
Last I heard, another mutual friend, said that she had breast cancer,
Huh.
which, yeah, it was weird. And I was like, "Oh, okay." But it still doesn't negate the fact that, like, she treated me like shit.
Yeah,
She was
yeah, you
Mackenzie.
don't want anybody to have, like, kind of, like, cancer like that. It's a very brutal illness.
But yeah, that's what happens. You get these shitty, mean girls. They have these parents. They created those monsters. So, as you can see, don't be a shitty parent. Don't be too permissive. This is beyond gentle
Yeah,
parenting. This
yeah,
is like,
and Lisa, you know my, like, viewpoints on gentle parenting. It's like, this is exactly the result of gentle parenting probably, and enabling
oh,
kids' behavior.
it's the perfect example
It's
of
like the
it.
cavalcade of, like, behaviors where just escalating behaviors. It just keeps getting worse and worse. Eventually, you end up killing someone, and we have this situation right now. You're hoping as a parent that it doesn't escalate to this point, right? They may just be a little dick, and they'll be dicks to other people for the rest of their lives because they're people of, like, little accountability. So, you never want it to escalate to a point where you as a parent has to see your kid go to prison because of what you did. Um, Not
Yeah.
sure if their parents are ever gonna acknowledge that they fucked up right here, but, that's just, that's for another day.
Exactly. Well, on that note, we covered quite a bit, which is really good. And if you haven't seen The Crash, it's on Netflix. Really good. Mean Girl Murders, really good. I think I prefer the Mean Girl Murders over that because it focuses more on the forensics versus, like, more like, you see the parents, just these parents are idiots. But just watch it. And hey, if you want to leave any comments and let me know if there's something that, like, we missed in the crash or, like, anything other stuff that's been coming out. Hey, let us know in the comments. Leave us a message. I'm really curious as to, like, what you guys think of this episode.
Yeah, and also let us know if there's any other kind of documentaries where their kid is obviously, a product of that kind of parenting. Please let us know.
Yes. All right, Ken, it was great speaking with you. This was a great episode, and we'll see you next time.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Bye, Lisa.
Bye.